players, that's a decision I'll decide when I decide and make my decision, and that will...
MASH remains one of the most beloved television shows in history, a groundbreaking series that combined humor, heart, and commentary on the human side of war. Yet behind the laughter and camaraderie, several key actors made the decision to leave the series before its conclusion, and their departures left fans shocked, curious, and sometimes even heartbroken. While many viewers assumed that the exits were simple contract disputes or the natural progression of careers, the reality is far more complex and often deeply personal. One of the first factors to consider is the intense pace and emotional weight of the show. MASH was filmed in a format that required long hours, high energy, and constant attention to both comedic timing and emotional nuance. Many of the actors became closely identified with their characters, to the point where the lines between performance and personal life began to blur. Over time, the constant pressure to maintain that level of intensity contributed to fatigue and a desire for change. For some cast members, stepping away from the show was a necessary act of self-preservation, allowing them to focus on their personal well-being and avoid burnout. Creative differences also played a major role in some departures. As the series evolved, the storylines became more dramatic, and the balance between comedy and serious themes shifted. Certain actors felt that their characters were no longer being used in ways that aligned with their artistic vision. Some wanted more depth, others wanted less exposure to emotionally heavy material, and a few felt that their contributions were not being fully recognized in the writer's room. These creative tensions, while often subtle, gradually created an environment where leaving seemed preferable to staying in a situation that no longer fit their professional goals. Another reason some actors left was the opportunity to explore new projects. The popularity of MASH had opened doors to film, television, and theater, and a number of cast members were presented with opportunities they could not ignore. These offers included starring roles, producing projects, and other ventures that promised creative freedom or financial reward. While leaving a successful show was not an easy choice, many saw it as a chance to grow professionally and expand their careers beyond a single, defining role. Their departures were therefore not only about the challenges within MASH, but also about embracing the possibilities that lay elsewhere. Interpersonal relationships behind the scenes also influenced some decisions. Television sets can be high-pressure environments, and while the MASH cast shared many bonds, there were instances of disagreements or differing working styles. Some actors found that they could no longer maintain the collaborative energy required for long-term filming, whether due to personality clashes, differing priorities, or the natural ebb and flow of relationships over many years of production. These factors contributed to the choice to step away. It was a reminder that behind even the most harmonious-looking productions, real human dynamics always play a role. Finally, personal life considerations cannot be overlooked. Acting in a long-running series demands significant time away from family, friends, and home life. For some cast members, leaving MASH allowed them to focus on raising children, caring for loved ones, or simply reclaiming a sense of personal balance. These motivations were often deeply private, and they demonstrate that decisions about career moves are not solely professional. They are intertwined with the human need for stability, happiness, and fulfillment. In sum, the reasons why actors left MASH are as varied as the individuals themselves. Fatigue, creative differences, career opportunities, interpersonal dynamics, and personal priorities all played a part. Each departure tells a story of a professional and personal choice, showing that even in the world of iconic television, real people make real decisions based on complex and deeply human considerations. Understanding this context helps fans appreciate not only the show, but also the sacrifices and choices made by the actors who brought it to life. As the series progressed, the intensity of filming MASH became more apparent to the cast. Although the show was celebrated for its humor and clever writing, it also required the actors to portray scenes with deep emotional weight, reflecting the realities of war. Balancing comedic timing with the gravity of serious storylines demanded extraordinary focus and energy. Over time, this dual responsibility took its toll on many of the actors, leaving them exhausted. Some found that the constant pressure of performing in both dramatic and comedic scenes was draining, and staying on the show no longer felt sustainable for their well-being. Choosing to leave became a way to protect their mental and emotional health. Contract negotiations also influenced several departures. While some actors left due to creative differences or personal priorities, others faced challenges when discussing compensation and roles. The show's immense popularity meant that cast members were aware of their value, and some sought recognition that matched their contributions. Negotiations could be tense, especially as storylines shifted and newer actors were introduced. In some cases, the network and production team could not meet the actors' expectations, leading to the difficult decision to step away. These decisions were rarely easy, but reflected a desire for fairness and respect within the industry. Career growth was another significant factor. The success of MASH offered opportunities that actors might never have received otherwise. Offers for starring roles in movies, other television projects, and even stage productions enticed many cast members to explore new avenues. For some, staying on the show meant turning down roles that could expand their careers and challenge them creatively. By leaving, they gained the freedom to pursue projects aligned with their ambitions and artistic vision. In hindsight, these moves often allowed the actors to diversify their work, demonstrating their versatility and ensuring they were not defined solely by a single character. Personal dynamics behind the scenes played a subtle yet important role. Although the cast shared camaraderie, working closely on a long-running series inevitably led to differences in personalities, approaches to work, and expectations. Minor disagreements sometimes escalated, creating tension that, over time, contributed to the decision to leave. While the team generally maintained professionalism, certain actors preferred to step away rather than remain in situations where collaboration felt strained. These choices highlight how human relationships, often unseen by viewers, can significantly impact career decisions. Family and personal life considerations were also paramount. Long hours on set meant significant time away from home, which affected actors with families or other personal responsibilities. Leaving the show provided the chance to reconnect with loved ones, nurture relationships, and regain a sense of balance that filming a high-pressure series could disrupt. Some actors explicitly cited these priorities as a central reason for their departure, emphasizing that life outside of work was just as important as professional achievement. Ultimately, the decision to leave MASH was rarely caused by a single factor. Instead, it was the combination of physical and emotional strain, creative challenges, career opportunities, interpersonal dynamics, and personal life priorities that shaped each choice. While fans may have speculated or misunderstood the reasons at the time, the reality was far more nuanced. Each actor who stepped away made a deeply personal decision that reflected their needs, values, and vision for the future. Looking back, these departures remind viewers that behind even the most iconic television series are real people making real choices. The actors' contributions remain unforgettable, and understanding the reasons behind their exits adds depth to the story of Maz *H. It shows that longevity in a career, like life itself, requires careful decisions, courage to step away when necessary, and the wisdom to prioritize well-being and growth alongside professional success. Another critical factor that influenced several actors' decisions to leave MASH was the evolution of the show itself. Over the years, the series grew darker in tone, tackling more serious themes related to war, mortality, and human suffering. While this shift added depth and realism, it also meant that the actors were required to navigate heavier storylines that sometimes conflicted with the lighter comedic aspects they initially loved. Some performers found it increasingly difficult to balance the emotional demands of these intense scenes with the levity that had defined much of their early work. The weight of portraying human tragedy week after week contributed to feelings of exhaustion and prompted actors to reevaluate their long-term commitment to the series. In addition to emotional strain, there were instances of creative tension between cast members and the writers or producers. Certain actors felt that their characters were being underutilized or misrepresented, which led to frustration. As the series progressed, the focus of storylines sometimes shifted toward other roles, leaving long-standing characters with less screen time or fewer meaningful moments. For actors who had invested years in shaping their characters, this could feel diminishing, and some concluded that leaving would allow them to pursue projects where they could have greater creative satisfaction and more control over their work. Another layer influencing departures was the inevitable challenge of professional identity. Many actors who joined MASH became closely identified with their roles, achieving fame and recognition that, while rewarding, also limited opportunities to explore other aspects of their craft. Stepping away from the series provided a chance to redefine themselves professionally. It gave them the freedom to audition for diverse roles, explore different genres, and pursue projects that demonstrated range and versatility. For some, this was essential for maintaining a fulfilling career and preventing the typecasting that often comes with iconic television roles. Interpersonal relationships within the cast also contributed to decisions to leave. While the cast generally maintained strong bonds, long-running series naturally encountered disagreements and personality clashes. Differences in approach to work, communication styles, or priorities could create tension behind the scenes. For actors committed to maintaining a positive environment and prioritizing personal well-being, stepping away was sometimes the healthiest choice. This allowed them to continue their careers without the added stress of unresolved conflicts and to preserve the meaningful friendships that had developed during their time on the show. Financial considerations played a role as well. MASH was a highly successful series, and as it grew in popularity, contract negotiations became more complex. Some actors sought salary adjustments, while others weighed the financial stability of remaining versus the potential earnings from new projects. While money was not the sole motivation for leaving, it was often part of a broader evaluation of career trajectory, life balance, and professional opportunities. Making the decision to leave required balancing financial considerations with personal and artistic priorities. Finally, personal life and family responsibilities were significant motivators. The grueling production schedule of a hit television series demanded long hours, often leaving little time for home life. Actors who wanted to be more present with their families or pursue personal interests beyond the show found that leaving was the best choice. Prioritizing relationships, self-care, and personal growth over continued fame reflected a conscious decision to ensure long-term happiness and fulfillment. Taken together, the reasons behind the actors' departures from MASH demonstrate that the decisions were rarely simple. They involved a combination of emotional, creative, professional, and personal factors, highlighting the complex realities of life in the entertainment industry. Each choice was deeply individual, yet all reflected a desire to preserve well-being, integrity, and the ability to continue growing both personally and professionally. The final factor that shaped the departures of several actors from MASH was the natural progression of life outside the television set. After years of working on a single project, it became increasingly important for actors to explore opportunities that aligned with their evolving personal and professional goals. While MASH offered fame, creative challenges, and a loyal fan base, some cast members realized that remaining on the show indefinitely could limit their ability to pursue new experiences, both on screen and in their personal lives. Leaving allowed them to embrace change and maintain agency over their career paths, a crucial consideration for anyone dedicated to long-term growth and fulfillment. Another contributing element was the desire for balance and stability. Long-running series, especially ones with rigorous filming schedules like Maz*H, can create a life dominated by work commitments. Many actors found that stepping away provided them with the flexibility to focus on family, personal health, and meaningful relationships outside the industry. This balance was not simply a luxury, it was a necessity for maintaining well-being. After years of high-pressure production, for some, leaving was less about dissatisfaction with the show and more about embracing life priorities that had previously been set aside. The evolving dynamics of the show also played a role in shaping decisions. As new characters were introduced and storylines shifted, some original cast members felt their roles had changed in ways that no longer aligned with their vision for their characters. While the series continued to thrive, this evolution meant that actors had to evaluate how their creative contributions fit into the larger picture. Choosing to leave allowed them to retain artistic integrity and seek projects where they could have greater control over the portrayal of their characters, as well as more influence over narrative direction. Additionally, professional growth opportunities outside the show were increasingly appealing. The popularity of MASH had opened doors to diverse roles in television, film, and theater. Actors who chose to depart often did so with an eye toward broadening their repertoire, tackling different genres, or exploring production and creative roles that were unavailable. While committed to a long-term series, these decisions were not made lightly, as leaving a beloved show carried emotional weight, but they ultimately reflected a commitment to personal development and career diversification. Interpersonal considerations remained a subtle but meaningful factor. Despite strong bonds among cast members, differences in personality, work style, and career objectives naturally rose over time. In some cases, stepping away was the most practical solution for maintaining positive professional relationships and ensuring that each individual could continue pursuing goals without conflict or tension. This demonstrated maturity and foresight, emphasizing the importance of preserving respect and collaboration, even while making difficult decisions. Finally, these departures underscore the human side of television production. While fans often view the on-screen result as a cohesive whole, the reality behind the scenes is complex. Actors are navigating not only creative challenges, but also personal priorities, relationships, and aspiration. The decision to leave a landmark series like MASH reflects careful consideration of all these factors, showing that career choices in the entertainment industry are deeply personal and multifaceted. Looking back, the actors' decisions to depart were a mixture of timing, opportunity, and self-awareness. Fatigue, creative evolution, personal priorities, and professional growth all intersected, influencing each individual's choice. Understanding these motivations offers fans a deeper appreciation for the show, the actors' contributions, and the thoughtful decisions that allowed each cast member to grow beyond the confines of a single role. In the end, the legacy of MASH is not diminished by these departures. Rather, it is enriched by the story's wisdom and experiences the actors carried with them into the next chapters of their lives.